Roman Kantserov is one step closer to the Blackhawks. Plus, we draft our all-time 4th overall draft pick lineup. That's next on CHGO Blackhawks. Happy Friday. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast presented by Bet365, where winning is everything. Download the app and use our code CHGO365 when you sign up. Hope you're having a great Friday in the best city in the world, Chicago. I'm Jay Zawaski with Mario Tirabassi. Sarah Fichter's running the show back at the Fichter Estates in Chicago. Got the moat opened up. She was able to ride her carriage through there, her giant mansion. We love that Sarah's with us. Chloe's on a well-earned vacation in San Diego, and we've got some Blackhawks news today. We all kind of awoke to it. Around 8:30 is when I saw it. Roman Kantserov's deal with Metallurg Magnitogorsk has been terminated. It was due to expire at the end of May. It's not a bad thing. They just said, hey, there's no hockey left for me to play here. I want to go to Chicago. Can we close this deal so I can negotiate sooner? And they said, duh, do it. So now we are one step closer to Roman Kantserov becoming a Chicago Blackhawk.
Yeah, it's real. I'm excited. I know it's, for a while it's been kind of feeling like maybe it's trending in that direction. Jeff Blashill's kind of talking about him as if he's in the plans. Kyle Davidson sounds optimistic, and as time has gone on, it's just kind of seemed more and more like this is where things are going to end up. And now finally kind of getting that initial report this morning, and then seeing the official release from his KHL club. All signs point to this getting done sooner rather than later. As this morning, at least Blackhawks side, we haven't heard anything official, but if there'd be no other reason that his KHL club would be terminating his contract early. So yeah, it's only a matter of time now when we get the official terms of what will be Roman Kantserov's entry-level deal. I'm excited, man. Like this is one of those additions in the offseason that we've been talking about, improving this team and being part of this group, and the hand wringing and the worrying that he's never actually going to get here. He'll be here, and I'm excited for it. Yeah.
It just seems like a matter of time if that contract was terminated yesterday or this morning or whatever it might be. He's got to get to Chicago. Contract's got to be worked out, but everyone expects a 3-year deal. Since he's the age he is, it's a 3-year entry-level deal. They'll have your traditional rookie bonuses built into it, but it's full go, man. Look, we're waiting for the official release, but I don't think there's any reason to have any sort of fears or concerns that it's not getting done. It will get done. It's going to happen. And you start to play around, right? Like the first thing I do whenever something like this happens, not that I haven't been doing this already, you start just like jotting down lines, right, for next year. And here's what I've got, and tell me what you think of this. I've got Bedard with Frondell and Bertuzzi, Nazar with Kantserov and Mikheyev. I really like the trio of Green, Moore, and Lardis. And then your fourth line, there's a lot of flexibility there. You assume Tavo is still here. Donato is going to be here. Until Burakovsky's bought out, he's here. You still got Landon Slaggert in the system. But some combination of, I'll just say, as of today, Donato, Teravainen, and Burakovsky, it's not a bad option at all. That's a pretty decent lineup.
No, it's definitely not too bad. I mean, you have a lot of good mix of young and veteran guys, and honestly, like that fourth line, if they're all like playing well, like we've seen them play before, like we've seen Tavo play before, like we see Burakovsky play before, and Donato play before, like that's way better than a fourth line of just guys that are going to be you know you just plug them into your lineup and they play 7 to 8 minutes a night. Like that's actually an effective group. And I think with Jeff Blashill, he doesn't necessarily get into like the numbering of lines. So even if you have a mixture like that group, they're probably not going to be deployed like a normal fourth line. Same goes for like that third line. Like that third line on some nights could be the line that's going. So I do like that. I do like that idea. Yeah, I just think like, and this is just with adding Kantserov. This isn't even talking about who they might draft or who could potentially be in addition through a trade or free agency. We're not even talking about Andrew Mangiapane, who's also part of the group as well. Like there's a lot of flexibility that adding Roman Kantserov brings, and it just elevates the floor of the lineup. And like what we've seen in Russia from him since he's been playing pro has been really encouraging. The last, 3 years he's won, the KHL championship before. He's put up numbers at, U21, U23, like his kind of like historic matching historical rates. So it's just like that all translates like, or at least not translates, correlates to players that have come over to the NHL then and have had a lot of success. Now it comes down to, will that translate into the NHL? And he's still 21 years old. He'll be 22 when the season starts. Like it'll be his first year in the NHL. Like he's full on rookie, even though he's played 3 years professionally in Russia. He'll be an NHL rookie. There will be like that learning curve, but it's going to be a lot different than a guy who comes in at 18 or 19 or 20 years old, potentially playing for the first time professionally. So it'll be very interesting to see how this kind of plays out and where he'll be slotted. If they do get, maybe as we spent yesterday's show talking about, maybe they do draft Ivar Stenberg and you throw him in the top 6, and maybe Kantserov isn't a top line guy as soon as he steps in. Maybe they add a top 6 forward through free agency or through trades, and you don't have to have him playing 20 minutes a night and have to be Connor Bedard's running mate. Like you don't have to put that pressure on him right away. You can kind of ease him into it. So it just, there's just the flexibility that this brings is really a positive.
I think it's a good point you're making too, that he's, unlike Bedard, who arrives here day one and is expected to like save the franchise. Kantserov is expected to be a big part of things here and to be a big contributor, but I don't think there's this pressure on him to come in, whatever, October 10th, whatever the home opener is, or the season opener is rather, and just be like one of the team's most dependable power play one leading scorers. Like he can kind of ease himself into the NHL lineup. Jeff Blashill though has not been shy about throwing guys into the fire, right? He did it with Anton Frondel without hesitation. Was like, he's here. He's playing the top line. Guess what? Now he's going to play center. He's on the top power play. Let's go. And maybe that changes with the fact that like it's a clean slate. It's not beyond the trade deadline. You don't know you're, for all intents and purposes, eliminated, and there's more to play for, right? Maybe that's why Blashill was a little more like, F it, just let's see what they got. Yeah. He might be a little more conservative to start the season to see how things get off going. But there's no pressure on him to come in and be great. None. I think there's an expectation he'll be good and a contributor, but I don't think 21-year-old Roman Kantserov arriving in Chicago next year is going to either, there's two things. I don't think he's anywhere near his full potential, obviously. And I also don't think that there's going to be a massive adjustment to the NHL for him. And just, talk about Frondel, it's kind of the same thing. Like, well, why did he come in and look so ready right away? Because he's been playing against grown-ass men. Guys that have played in the NHL before, with guys that have played in the NHL before, right? He's not coming from Medicine Hat. He's not coming from Regina. He's not coming from your junior team where he's up against other kids. He's coming from leagues dominated by pros, guys that have played for a long time. And I think the adjustment for him, will be more off ice, getting used to life in the United States, finding a home, finding how to get around, like those sort of things, which matter, right? Those are certainly factors. But in terms of putting the skates on the ice and going out there and playing, I don't expect a massive adjustment from him, and I think he'll contribute right away.
Yeah, I think the smaller ice will be something he'll have to adjust to, but guys do that pretty quickly. I think you're right. Like the off ice adjustment will be pretty much just as important because once you get on the ice, hockey becomes the easy part for some of these guys. And for Kantserov, like looking at where he's coming from this last season to coming into this season, like to have high expectations is warranted. You have one of the best U22 KHL seasons that we've seen since Kirill Kaprizov, who he stepped in right away and was really good for the Minnesota Wild. You saw Artemi Panarin. Now I know he had a few extra seasons in the KHL, but he stepped in right away in Chicago, and we all know how impactful he was right away. And yeah, that was a better team than this Blackhawks team. He was on Patrick Kane's wing, but if you're adding Kantserov to play with Anton Frondell or play with Connor Bedard, not that they're prime MVP level Patrick Kane, but it's a lot better than when Bedard stepped into the NHL. So I think he is set up to have some on ice like easing in, but I think like there is still a good amount of expectation for him, and rightfully so. Like if you were to say like, who do you think next year based off of who we're expecting the roster to be, who's going to be your top 3 scorers? I mean, knowing that Kantserov is right now in the plans, I'd probably put him at number 3. I would think Bedard, Frondell, Kantserov. Like that would be my expectation for like point production. Maybe, you throw in Nazar too there, but like those are the guys that I think offensively are going to be pushing this thing forward. Now it's, again, like I said, we still got to see how free agency and the trade season and the draft plays out. But on May 8th, knowing that Roman Kantserov is 99.999% a Blackhawk, I would venture a guess that I would slot him there as like by the end of the year, that's where his production might land.
That's interesting. So third leading scorer on the team. I'm trying to think. I mean, it's unlikely that Bertuzzi's going to duplicate his season. He had 58 points. I'm trying to get the points per game for Frondell. Let's see. He's not. It was like a 61 point pace. What? No. He had what, 9 points in 12 games? 9 points in 12 games, yeah.
Yeah, so it's 0.75.
Divided by 12. So yep, times 82 equals
84.
61. So yeah, so 0.75 times 84 is 63. So if he's on a 63 point pace, if he doesn't get any better than he did last year, he is the second leading scorer on the Hawks. Behind Connor Bedard.
Right. And Bedard pre-injury was on 120 points or something like that. Like something crazy.
But that, I mean, so if you're putting Kantserov third, Nazar had 41 points in 66 games, but I think he's right there in that conversation, right? Like top 4 for sure. I can't imagine him outside of there unless they are going to actually pull off a deal for top 6 person we've been dreaming of. And that's the question here from Nunny Lowe says, with Kantserov signing this Kyle Davidson make a splash for a top 5 player. I think that, yes, I don't know if he will, but I don't think this changes his mindset at all. I think he's known all along that Kantserov is coming. Kantserov has been in the plans. So this is not like, oh, wow, he's coming? Oh, well, now I don't have to worry about that. Like, no, that's been the assumption all along. So that's the other thing. You plug in somebody here, and maybe you do buy out Burakovsky. Maybe you do trade Tavo, as we've mentioned a couple times. But like, is the roster too good? It's kind of crazy. No, it's definitely not. All right, we got to hit the break zone for the first. Oh yeah, go ahead, real quick.
Well, I was gonna say we can expand on that after the break.
Yeah, definitely. All right, a couple super chats we want to get to as well. when we come back. Do us a favor. We've not asked you to do this yet because I'm off my game because I'm in my basement. Hit that like button. Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube page as well. If you're listening on the podcast, we love you. Look out for a mini pod dropping this weekend as well. Subscribe, follow, rate, review, all that great stuff. Talk to you in 2 minutes on CHGO Blackhawks. Our friends at Sunnyside Dispensary are here to elevate your baseball season. Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free shopping. They've got a massive selection with over 100 different strains to choose from at any given time. Their online ordering process could not be simpler, and they've got great in-store pickup. So wherever you are in Illinois, Sunnyside has a location for you. In the city, all over the place. Just drive up and down Clark Street. You'll find a couple of them. They've also got spots as far north as South Beloit and as far south as Champaign. Stop in the store nearest you for expert guidance from their staff. Head to their website for only the best under the sun, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Listen to that. 50% off your first 3 online purchases with our code HICHGO. Sunnyside Dispensary, only the best under the sun. This is only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders.
It's May, which means it is Beef Month. Announcing the Bona World Beef Championships. Eat or share as much beef as you possibly can during the month of May, which is National Beef Month. Everyone who reaches the championship level of 50 beefs during the month of May will receive 61,400 bonus points of bonus rewards, good for any beef or any item on the Bona menu. Be the hero. At using the Bona app, you can get beefs for your friends, your family, your office mates, your neighbors, whoever you want to give a beef to, you can. And be ready to play because bonus rewards start to accumulate once you've reached 5 beef orders in the month. More details can be found at bona.com. That's BUONA.com.
All right, we are back on CHGO Blackhawks, and now it is time to take the temp with our friends at Four Seasons, your trusted local experts for heating, air conditioning, plumbing, sewer, and electric. They've been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. And as we know, anytime a new player is added to the roster, our buddy Windy City Hockey, along with others, are curious as to what jersey number they will wear. Roman Kantserov wears number 8 in the KHL. That number is unavailable. So does he buy Ryan Donato a Rolex and get number 8? Or does he wear something else? I have a suggestion. 88.
Yes. That'll go over very well.
Yes, it's available.
Bring your bring your 88 jerseys to your local jersey shop and have the nameplates swapped out. Yeah, I'm sure the Blackhawks will definitely run that promotion. I was trying to see if I could see if there were any other teams that he was on where he didn't have the number 8. But I'm not really seeing any right now. I think he's pretty steadfast with number 8.
So you do 80?
81.
You do 80. You could
can't do 18.
No, you could do the like Panarin was 9 and then wore 72 for the Hawks. So he could do 71 and a little stick tap to Evgeny Malkin.
If he likes Evgeny Malkin, yeah, he could do that. 24. 24 is a better number. Lafferty's not coming back.
No, that's
2 times 4 is 8.
Numbers taken in my heart, baby.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, sure.
I just keep it handy.
That's
It's
fair.
just right there, just in case.
Yeah. Yeah, I just I'm trying to think like what Ryan Donato showed up and got number 8. I mean, if you said who's going to be here longer term, you could give up number 8 for Kantserov, but I don't know. It'll be That'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Or he could maybe just go. What do you think? Kaprizov is what, 97?
Yeah.
He could do 97, right next to Bedard.
Got to keep that open for free agency in a couple years.
I guess that's true. Yeah. I don't know. That's a good one.
Now he could do. It's not a derivative of 8, but he could do 96, which was worn by Pavel Bure, but he was not born when Pavel Bure played. So who am I kidding? I'm gonna go out on a record. I'm gonna say 71. That's my guess. That's my official
71.
guess. 71. I'm writing it down. 71 for Kantserov. I'm gonna write it down on paper. See how it looks.
There you go.
Oh yeah, that looks good. I like that.
71. You could do 17 the other way around. Yeah, but 71 with Malkin. If he likes Evgeny Malkin, if he was influenced by Evgeny Malkin, that one makes the most sense.
And Chuck corrects me that 96 is a multiple of 8. I don't know math, buddy. I was sick that day.
8 times. Oh yeah, 8 times 12. Yeah.
I literally on the ACT test, I just like skipped math. I was like, C, B, Z. I have no idea. I'm good.
There you go. That's how you ended up at Lewis.
Pat says 8 times 8, 64.
Yeah. 64. Wasn't that Yakupov's number?
Oh, I don't know. It was David Kamp's number.
Might have been. It was
All right,
David Kamp's number.
Yeah, 64. I'm firm on 71.
71 sounds good. And 71 looks good on a jersey too.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Some numbers look terrible on jerseys.
It is Celebrini's number though.
What, 71?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, screw him. We don't need him.
All right. That's Taking a Temp, presented by Four Seasons, your trusted local experts for heating, air conditioning, plumbing, sewer, and electric. Before we got off on grab ass time, we were just talking about like the potential fits for him in the lineup and the expectations. I know you were about to make a point before we hit the break, so.
Yeah, we were talking about like does officially getting Kantserov change what Kyle Davidson does in adding anything to the roster. I can see a world in which, you get Kantserov and you're looking at, you have a full year of Frondell, maybe you add a forward at the draft that is immediately in your NHL lineup. And you might say, like, this is our forwards group. It doesn't mean Kyle Davidson is not adding to this roster, because maybe it doesn't add to the forward group, but I think there is still that need and that spot that you could add to the defensive group. He could do both, but I think he has to at least come away with this offseason where he adds at least one of those spots. Maybe the forwards with adding Frondell or Kantserov and potentially a draft pick, but just with adding Kantserov, maybe you add to the forward group as far as like that top 6 big impact forward, but you still have to look at the defensive group.
Yeah, I'm actually operating at the assumption they add a defenseman. Like, they kind of have to. And even if it is, they end up drafting, whoever at 4 if it's a defenseman, I don't think anyone projects as NHL ready, so they can't count on that.
No.
So I think they're going to add somebody, and hopefully it's on the left side. That's like really where your question marks are. I don't think you're at the point now. Obviously, they're not sending Levchinov down because they didn't last year. Renzel was up and down last year, but seemed up at the end. And Louis Crevier has been really good, so your right side seems pretty solid right now. But then you've got the wild card in all this, and we have got all summer to talk about this, is the Korchinski and Del Mastro situation, and Korchinski, in requiring waivers if they're sent down, and that's not a good situation. That sucks. So it's almost like one of those guys has to make the team here. So I don't know. We got all summer to worry about that. But I in terms of forwards, if Kyle Davidson was planning on adding a forward, I don't think that Kantserov arriving changes that at all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it should. I think you definitely still need to go into the off season with the idea of adding. Because let's say Kantserov shows up and he needs a huge adjustment period. Like I don't want to say he's going to come out of the gate struggling, but like if it's just not at that level that I think we're all hoping for, and maybe setting some high expectations for, but if he's not at that level, then he doesn't have that impact that someone through the trade market or through free agency potentially could. If you looked at the Athletics free agency big board coming from Chris Johnson today, it's not great. Not that you needed that to tell you that it's not great. You've known that, you should know that the free agent class is not going to be great. Number one forward is Alex Tuck. And it's like, I would feel less than a 50-50 shot that he's actually a free agent this year.
Agree.
Your next forward is Evgeny Malkin. And who knows what his future is. I think Pittsburgh might be best suited moving on from him. But he's 39. Like, I don't know really how much he's got left. Then you're at Charlie Coyle, Bobby McMahon, who I think would be great, but I don't see how Seattle can make the deal that they did to get him and then let him go. Anthony Mantha, who we kind of talked about a little bit, Mason Marchment, Jaden Schwartz. Like, now you're kind of into that spot where it's just like these forwards aren't necessarily like, oh yeah, top six, they're gonna really drive the bus. Like, it's guys that are like kind of good, maybe middle six. Like, you hope for them to have a good season, but they probably might not be doing what you want. So then you have to go through the trade route, and that's a crapshoot too.
I would take a stab at Marchment. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but it's not adding a guy that you're putting next to Bedard and being like, oh yeah, he's going to pot 30 goals or whatever.
Well, I would say he's up there in terms of quality line mates that Connor Bedard has had anyway, though. I mean, I know it's not saying much, but yeah. he had 45 points last year. That would still put him up towards the top of the guys he's played with.
Right.
I don't know. But look, there's been a lot of smoke today. We'll talk about it a little bit next segment, about the Hawks dangling that 4th overall pick, which sounds great, but it's a little more complicated than it sounds. And I want to make sure we get to that next break, but or next segment. But I don't know. To me, it feels like either forward wise, boy, you kind of have to make sure you have a spot. And like, maybe this means that they're not going to bring Mikheyev back, right? Like, maybe they're already in that mindset of like, well, I know I want him back too, but I don't know. Like,
I feel like you need him back. I feel like you need him back even more now.
But I'm trying to fill in the blanks here, right? Like, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, at least 9 forward spots you feel are taken. Frondell, Bedard, Bertuzzi, Nazar, Kantserov, Moore, Green, Lardis, Donato. That's 9. Tavo is still here. Tavo is still under contract.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, he had a down year, but even a down year from him is pretty good.
If Tavo's here, they're playing him. Yeah.
If Burakovsky's here,
I think probably, but I think I think if you're adding a forward, you don't want to throw a guy in the middle of the lineup that's going to be taking up time that would better be served getting a young player those minutes, because I don't think that benefits you all that much. Especially if it's a guy that you're like trying to frame as like, this is our big addition up front, and it's just like someone who's going to play on the third line that you could be giving those minutes to Oliver Moore, Nick Lardis, or Ryan Green, whoever. Like, I if you're adding somebody who is a veteran that you're going to be giving, significant time to, and you're saying like we're pushing a young guy down the lineup, it's got to be for someone who's going to be in the top six, or it's got to be somebody who you're like absolutely certain that they're going to be the kind of impact player that is like, I keep kind of coming back to like Blake Coleman. Like he's like a guy that doesn't necessarily play top six, could, but maybe not necessarily. But as far as like style of play, yeah, like I want a guy like that. But if you're looking for like, this guy's a veteran and he also like could maybe potentially play that, that kind of style that they're missing, or also could maybe potentially give you a little bit of production. If you're not certain about it, then you got to kind of figure out like how much you want to allocate that space and that time. Because like you're saying, like they already have a lot of players that are significant to the future that pretty much have spots.
Yeah, there's so much intrigue this offseason. I think I didn't realize it, like, heading into it. It's like, oh yeah, maybe and now as you're putting things on paper, it's like, boy, like who's like, I feel like some young player you like is going to be in Rockford next year. And I mean the Royal U, everybody you, not just you, Mario.
Which is like, that's fine. So long as we're not doing it for another Andre Burakovsky, right?
Yes.
Like someone who's brought in and they play and they put up 30 points and they become a disappointment. I want it to be if Nick Lardis or Ryan Green or whatever, like they're playing top line in Rockford rather than being in Chicago. I want it to be for a purpose rather than, purposeful for the player that took their spot.
Yeah, it can't just be a roster filler, because I think you're at the point now where you don't need to buy time for forwards to develop. Like you've got enough with the emergence of Green, who, probably left 3-4 goals on the board at least last year with posts and shots wide and like those sort of things. And your rival of Kantserov, and how quickly Moore looked good and how quickly Lardis looked good. Like even if one of those guys takes a step back, you've got enough to make up for it. Yeah, it's got to be top six or bust. All right, let's hit the break zone again. We are going to, there was a little bit of a rumor today, a little bit of a report we should probably get to. And then later on in the show, we are going to draft our all-time lineup of number 4 overall picks. That's what our plan was before Roman Kantserov terminated his deal. We're still doing it on CHGO Blackhawks. What if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi, and what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That, my friends, is the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Imagine Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together, that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them. It's super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense, and that lets you stream the game or podcast from your basement, even when the whole family is online. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And the best part, no annual contracts, no hidden fees, and Xfinity's best equipment is included. Take it from us, a lot can change in 5 years. Championships are won, records are broken, dreams grow bigger, but your Wi-Fi should stay reliable and the price should stay put. So take advantage, lock in your price, and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Available on select plans only, and restrictions apply.
Whether your AC has stopped working, you have a clog in your drain, or you need an extra outlet installed, Four Seasons has you covered. Four Seasons heating, air conditioning, plumbing, sewer, and electric. They're available 24/7 for emergency services with no extra charges for nights, weekends, or holidays, which is, of course, when things will break. The summer heat is right around the corner, so make sure your AC is ready to go. You can get a complete AC up for just $89.95 right now from Four Seasons, backed up by a 1-year no breakdown guarantee. If you're thinking about upgrading with Four Seasons, now is the perfect time. For all the right reasons, call 866-4 Seasons, your trusted local experts for heat, air conditioning, plumbing, sewer, and electric. Go to Four Seasons Heating Cooling.com for all of their special offers and money-saving coupons. Again, that's Four Seasons Heating Cooling.com.
All right, we are back on CHGO Blackhawks, and a little bit of a report this morning from the Daily Faceoff and David Pagnotta, basically saying that if the Hawks hadn't gotten the first overall pick, which we know they didn't, anywhere between 2, 3, and 4, they were going to dangle as
back.
a
CHGO Blackhawks podcast. Jay, are you there?
I'm here.
I hope.
Yes, I'm here talking. I think we may have lost Mario here, Sarah. If you can, maybe we can reconnect with him. The report from Pagnotta saying that if it wasn't a top 4 pick or a top 2, 3, or 4 pick, the Hawks were going to dangle that. Now, I've got some mixed opinions about Pagnotta. I know he's had stuff in the past. I will say that it seems like he's always second, which, everyone, when you've got your guys that are always first, your Elliot Friedmans, your Pierre LeBruns, etc., someone has to fall into that second category. So I'm still kind of at the point where Pagnotta is I'm on the fence about his level of plugged inness. But he says, for what it's worth, the Hawks will be dangling the pick because it's 4. We talked about this a little bit, and I think Mario is back.
Hello.
That the guys we're talking about, I don't know if I'm giving up number 4 for Matthew Nyes. People are presenting their packages of, it's 4 in Korchinski and Bertuzzi for, Nyes and Morgan Riley. It's like, all right, there's part of me feels though it's like I feel like the 4th overall pick should be better than Matthew Nyes. I don't know. Is that crazy? I don't know. And I like Matthew Nyes a lot. He's exactly what the Hawks need. I just don't know if I'm willing to be like, well, I'm just punting on 4 to get him. If I'm punting on 4, it's for someone better than that.
Yeah. So for Nyes, I don't think the Maple Leafs, even with winning the lottery, getting the number 1 pick, and very, very likely adding Gavin McKenna, become better by getting rid of Matthew Nyes. And yeah, maybe you get the 4th pick, but I think that's still a guy that you need to have for the Maple Leafs moving forward if you're not going to go into a rebuild, retool mode and keep Matthews and Nylander, and let's say you add McKenna, you keep Nyes around because you need to have that guy to keep you competitive moving forward. And you could have the number 4 pick, but if it's not Stenberg, who are you could get your defender there, sure. Like the deal you just mentioned, it was number 4 and Korchinski for Nyes and Morgan Riley.
For the record, this was not any sort of insider. It's just people responding to his report. Let's talk about, you know what I mean? Like, these are the things that fans are proposing, which are, I don't know, man. If I'm trading 4, I love Matthew Nyes. And as Tornsey points out in the chat, it's a top 10 power forward winger. It's hard to come by. It is. But 4th overall, we're about to draft 4th overall players, and there's some pretty damn good ones in there. It's not a bad list. I promise.
Right. So I feel like, and it wouldn't work because Toronto would already be picking. Or maybe it could work. I don't know. But I feel like if you're thinking about moving the 4th overall pick, you probably have to take it till you're on the clock, basically. Because if San Jose goes defense at 2, and all signs point to Malhotra landing at number 3, and Stenberg is there at number 4, I would take Stenberg. over just using the pick rather than making any kind of moves, getting kind of eluded or anything like that, and trying to get Nyes. If Stenberg's the pick at 2, and you're looking at, okay, well, we could add maybe Chase Reed or Carson Karls or Smits or whoever on defense, then I'm like, well, sure, like let's, if we're not going to get that immediate impact top end forward, then yeah, I'm much more willing to then make that kind of move and maybe still open it up for Nyes or whatever they do. But even in that scenario, I can admit you probably end up waiting too long to make that kind of deal, especially if it is for specifically Nyes. Now, obviously, there's 30 other teams besides the Maple Leafs that you could try and move that pick for and see what could happen. But so much smoke is around Nyes that it's hard to ignore that seems to be the connection that kind of trade would be made with the Blackhawks. And Davidson's tried to trade for him before.
Yeah. I just can't imagine, like we said after the draft lottery, like Toronto getting 1, I think just completely changes their offseason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it totally, I just, if they had any thought of trading Matthew Nyes, I think it is now out the window because they're probably getting Gavin McKenna. And that window is right back open because we talk about all the time, like the last 2 segments. Hey, you're adding a guy. Where does this guy now move? Or, now you move Matthew Nyes into a second line role or even a third line role, right? And everything bumps down because the talent gets better. And then he's not drawing top matchups. So his numbers are going up. So it's, you know what I mean? I can't imagine Matthew Nyes gets traded. But I don't think I'm giving up 4 for him. Robertson, yes. Robert Thomas, maybe. But I'm not throwing in any sweeteners for that. Like, you're not getting 4 and something. No, Get bent. No, it's the 4th overall pick. If you want the 4th overall pick, you're giving me your best player. Thanks. Like, I don't know. That's what I'm at. I think we're losing sight a little bit of, like, everyone's really excited about, the top picks every year, but the 4th overall pick is not bad. Like, you're getting an awesome player there almost every year.
Yeah, I mean, you're at number 4 this year. You're getting either the number 1 center in the draft class, the number 1 defenseman in the draft class, or the number 2 overall prospect. Right?
Right.
So like, yeah. So it's not a wash that the pick is not worth being made. I just think like with Nyes, like I'm trying to put myself in a Maple Leafs mindset, right? Like if they win the lottery and you're like, okay, we're adding McKenna, but the team obviously still has needs and they need help defensively. Is it enough to add McKenna at number 1 and then their future defensively is not great? Their present defensively is also not great either, but their future defensively, like they don't have a future number 1 in their system. Could they make that concession and say, we just added Gavin McKenna, we can move Nyes to also get the 4th pick, and that gives you Chase Reed. Like, there's your future defensively. Is that more valuable than having the stacked forwards group?
Well,
because you also still have John Tavares, who's not who he used to be, but he's still going to help you immediately. Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, look, that's clearly on the mind of the Leafs, because when the trade talks with Nyes were revisited at the deadline, Toronto wanted Levchinov, and Kyle Davidson said no. So Clearly they want a young defenseman that is NHL ready or on the brink of NHL ready, and maybe they see Chase Reed as that guy. But for me, like one to one, Like, I'm not doing that. Like, I want more from Toronto. And someone asked me why I always bring up Morgan Riley. I'm just telling you what people are saying, man. The Hawks need left D. They could use some salary to add, but I couldn't care. Like, if it's Morgan Riley, fine. I don't think he moves the needle a ton. Does he make their D better? Probably slightly, but it's not a guy I'm stumping for. A lot of people are connecting those dots.
Yeah, well, because I think that's probably the defenseman that Toronto is probably looking to move on from. I don't know why. He's still decent. But I think people start to kind of like look at his contract situation and they're like, he's not living up to it for what the Maple Leafs need. But also, like, if you take him away, like, what are you replacing him with? I don't know. Jake McCabe should come back. I don't know why no one's talking about that.
I'd be down with that. All right, let's hit the break zone. Yeah. Let's take a break. We'll be talking about trades and number 4 all summer. Let's actually do it. Let's go through the all-time number 4 overall picks, and Mario and I are going to draft our rosters: 3 forwards, 2 defensemen, and guess what? We all have the same goalie because there was only one. Back in 2 minutes on CHGO Blackhawks. New vehicles are in store at Ray, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, and this is your chance to score a great deal at the Declaration of Deals sales event. Head to Ray CDJR on Route 12 today to choose from their huge inventory of new Chryslers, Dodges, Jeepses, and Rams' models, and right now, get up to $14,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% financing for 72 months on the new 2026 Ram 1500 Crew Cab, plus shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. With Ray's price promise, you know you can shop confidently with no add-ons or hidden fees ever. The price you see is the price you pay. It's that simple. Go check them out. They have one of Chicago area's largest inventories. Find the right vehicle for you and drive home happy at Ray CDJR. Don't miss out on the Declaration of Deals event for huge savings on Ram 1500 Crew Cab. For more info, visit Ray CDJR today on Route 12 in Fox Lake or online at raycdjr.com. They've been serving the community since 1963.
What kind of dreams did you have when you were a kid? Did you know what you wanted to be when you grew up? How about now? If you're thinking about starting your own business, you need to check out Shopify. Shopify is the e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and is 10% of all e-commerce in the US. Shopify even powers the CHGO merch store, where you can find this nice little hat here. Shopify has got you covered from website creation, product descriptions, emails, social media marketing, and so much more. They even have AI tools that can help you maximize your sales. So if you are ready to sell, you are ready for Shopify. You can turn your big business idea into cha-ching with Shopify on your side. Start your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/allcity. That's shopify.com/allcity.
All right, we are back on CHGO Blackhawks, and before we get into our draft, $5 super chat from Windy City Hockey says, could the Blackhawks have a chance at 2 Calder finalists next season? By how you guys are talking with Kantserov and Frondell, top 3 points for Chicago. It depends on who else comes in. I mean, Gavin McKenna is going to be in the league. Ivar Stenberg is going to be in the league. Caleb Mahotra might be in the league. So there's going to be a lot of competition. I would assume that the voters will choose one of those 2 guys from the Hawks if indeed they are finalists.
Could you imagine? You draft Stenberg. You sign Kantserov. Full season of Frondell. 1, 2, 3. There's your Calder nominees.
There you go. And they'll have to add to the wallpaper the Calder room at the Blackhawks Ice Center.
Yep. And then play on the parade.
Parade time. Yeah, I mean, look, it's I think that I don't think it's out of the question that Frondell is firmly in the Calder conversation.
I agree.
And we'll see about the other guys. But
yeah.
All right, we got to do this. We got to do it quick. We got 10 minutes to go. Here's the concept. Very simple. 3 forwards, 2 defensemen, and the goalie that was drafted 4th overall. All these players are 4th overall picks. Only one goalie in the history of the NHL has been drafted number 4 overall, It is Roberto Luongo.
It's a good pick.
We both have him. So we're apparently neither of our teams are winning the Stanley Cup, regardless of how good they are.
No, not until he becomes part of our front office.
All right, I'm going to give you the first pick because I'm feeling generous. Who are you going with?
No, thank you. I'm going to go with the perennial Norris candidate himself, Cale Makar. I think there's really no reason not to choose him. Looking up and down the lineup, like, I think I'd venture a guess. Obviously he's still active, so some of these guys are, their careers are all said and done. But I'd venture a guess that he's probably going to be the most well-renowned defenseman of the group. I don't know.
Yeah, defenseman wise, certainly. But I'm glad you took him first because I am going to take Steve Yzerman with my first pick. I've got my captain. I've got my top line center. I've got my power play guy. I've got my penalty killer. I've got my all around stud. I've got a guy who's going to be wearing my uniform for 20 years and doing it with style. So Steve Yzerman is my first round pick of 4th overall.
And he can be your team's future GM too.
No. Nope. My organization does not hire franchise legends to run the team. That never works.
Okay.
Unless you're Joe Sakic.
I will go. Now, this guy was very, very good and could have been even better had he not been knocked out cold a few times in his career. One of my favorite players of all time, not just Blackhawks, a guy that helped get me into hockey, Paul Kariya is my top forward selection.
It's funny you mentioned him. I was playing NHL 2K10 today, and I did like a whole fantasy draft.
He's with the Blues.
On mine, he's with the Oilers because I just fantasy drafted the whole league.
Because you did the fantasy draft.
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
So, he had a nice game against me today. By the way, 2K10 still holds up. Honestly, as good as NHL 26. Graphic differences aside. Okay. Sorry, I'm wasting time. Another forward for me. This one's too obvious, and maybe, just maybe, I would let this guy run my team. It's Ron Francis. One of the most underrated hockey players of all time. And it's because he was always on great teams with other superstars. He was in the shadow of Mario Lemieux and Jaromir Jagr, right? He was always sort of the second or third fiddle despite being that damn good. So I'm very happy to have my forward group, 2 forwards of Ron Francis and Steve Yzerman. I feel pretty good about that. No one is scoring against me, and I don't even have a defenseman yet.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Listen, you got all your future GM candidates. Okay, I'm gonna.
If I get who I want later, maybe not.
Okay, because you're going forward heavy, I'm gonna shore up my defense, and this is one of the defensemen that I feel like career's over, and of the group, feels like one of the most accomplished. I am going with defenseman Larry Murphy.
It's a good pick. He was always a thorn in the side of the Hawks, Red Wings, Penguins. Just a good defenseman for a really long time. Kind of reminded me of Connor Murphy, but a lot better. All right, I have to go defense here, and honestly, you did take, in my opinion, the 2 best. So I will take Alex Pietrangelo as my first defenseman off the board. By the way, free agent?
Retired, I think.
Oh yeah, he was super hurt. That's right.
I think his career's done.
Yeah. That's a shame.
Hey, right, I mean, he's got what? He got what? 2 cups, right?
Yeah.
He was on the Blues and the Vegas team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good for him.
Yep. I'm happy with that. Right. Another sort of underrated guy, but yeah.
All right. I need a center. A guy who's like strictly, you define the position, centerman, gonna dish it off. A famous 4th overall pick in this town because it was right after Jonathan Toews. I am taking Nicholas Backstrom, Washington Capitals legend, best friend of Alex Ovechkin, stays at his house in commercials. Yeah, Nicholas Backstrom is one of those guys that's just like, if we ever did a draft of like best Robins to the Batmans of their team, Nicholas Backstrom, I think, is on the Mount Rushmore of that list.
Yeah, he's right there with Ron Francis.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. All right, I'm going with the guy who's definitely not going to be a GM candidate, Brady Tkachuk. I gotta get some muscle on here. I gotta get some strength. I gotta get some swag. So I'm taking Brady Tkachuk as my third forward. So I've got Yzerman, Francis, and Tkachuk as my forwards. Pietrangelo is my defenseman so far.
That's pretty good. Did you only take one defenseman
so far? Oh crap!
Oh. Yeah.
There's like none left. I gotta find one.
I just realized that. Well, anyway, that's a J problem.
That is a problem, and I'll fix it.
All right. Oh, this is my last pick then, right? Number 5. All right, so I gotta get a forward. And I'm gonna go more modern, recent 4th overall pick. A guy that is polarizing amongst the league, not in the same way that Brady Tkachuk is, but I'm going to go with a guy who has been a Selke nominee before, who has been a team's leader in scoring before. Maybe that happened in the same year. I can't remember exactly. But I'm going to go with Mitchell Marner to round out my 5 players.
All right. I did screw up. Just to take people behind the curtain, we had to draft this before the show so Sarah could get all the graphics ready. And I did take 4 forwards because I'm an idiot. So I'm going to replace Mike Gartner, the very speedy and very hairy-chested Mike Gartner. And I'm going to replace him with a guy who is probably not worthy of this spot, but I just loved watching him play, Al Iafrate, with the mullet, the skullet, I think you call that, the bald on the top and the mullet on the back, just blasting slap shots 104. Look at that. Look at Sarah. Got it done. Al Iafrate with the 7 million mile an hour slap shot. Tough guy, ugly guy, the very definition of 80s hockey. Are there better defensemen on the board? Probably, yes. Are there as many fun defensemen on the board? Absolutely not. I'm having some fun, and I'm taking Al Iafrate.
That's a good pick. Like when we first looked at the list, I was just like, before we realized like how deep are we going to go with some of these picks, that was a defenseman. I was like, I made a good one to pick maybe in a later round. But yeah, that's pretty good. Props to Sarah for
yes, thank you, Sarah,
figuring that out on the fly. It is it's interesting how if we put these two teams on the ice with Roberto Luongo and clone Roberto Luongo, it would be a very good like contrasting styles matchup because your team's a little more rough and tumble, and I think my team's a little bit more speedy and try and beat you that way. So that'd be a good matchup. I'm
gonna say your team is soft. Sherman's soft.
Well, once Brady Tkachuk knocks out Paul Kariya and his soft skull, that might be a problem.
Yeah, I might have some discipline problems, but I'm hoping the leadership of Yzerman and Ron Francis can get Tkachuk and Iafrate under control. That would be great.
Yeah.
All right, well, that was fun. We are going to drop a mini pod this weekend. We have all the awards that matter have been announced. They're all out. So we're going to make our predictions on who's going to take home the key NHL awards this season. That should drop, I think, tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. We'll put it on Twitter, all that good stuff. And, of course, we're going to be back on Monday. Mailbag Monday. It's Monday. Send in your questions to our Discord, and we will get as many of them answered as we possibly can. Who knows? Maybe by then we have official news on Roman Kantserov. Maybe we have a deal signed. Maybe we've got a press conference. Lots could be happening in the next few days for the Hawks and elsewhere.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe elsewhere. We'll see if I'm here on Monday.
We'll see if Mario's here on Monday. All right, we'll talk to everybody then. Do we need to tell them why, or do we just leave them hanging?
Oh, I'm I'm in my future son's room, so we're just waiting to put him in here. So we'll see. If you see Greg on Monday,
you know what happened.
You'll know why.
Yes. All right.
Please welcome to the world. Good news. It's good news. It's not.
Yes. Yeah. It'll be Oliver Moore Tirabassi is my guess on a name.
We'll see.
All right. We'll talk to everybody Monday at 3. Thanks to Sarah for producing the show and getting the L. Iafredi correction up right in time. She's the GOAT. We'll talk to you then on CHGO Blackhawks.
We all silly like the mayor.